Okay, good morning. We're going to surprise you and start on time because your perception is when you come here that there are tricks. This afternoon session will take place tomorrow, and who knows what else will come up. No, we're starting on time and hopefully we'll finish on time. My name is Gregory Papanikos. I am the president of this what we call World Association of Academics and Researchers. And what we are trying to do is make Athens a place where people from all over the world can come, discuss current and future developments of their discipline. The way that we organize is small groups of people, and of course, most of them that they come, we know that they want to find an excuse to write off expenses. So that's how we exploit that. And apart from that, we're trying to do some good work. You're not coming for us, but you're coming for Athens, and it's a dream come true for some people. And we offer this venue, if you want, these conferences, so you can be here with people from so many different countries. Now, the way we work is we have research units, we have divisions, and each research unit, more than 30 actually, organizes at least one annual event, as this one. And of course, we grow every year, we have more and more events. The reason is because you, if you like what we are doing, wait until tomorrow night though, if you like what we are doing, you suggest and you say, why don't we do this and why don't we do another event? So you are more than welcome to suggest, and of course, apart from liking the president and vote for him every 4 years, you should follow our policies, because we have, believe it or not, we have policies and we have rules. Very few people read it. But when it comes to ask for a refund, I said our policies are there 1 year in advance. So this is very important to see what we are doing and how we are doing it. And if you accept that, of course we can change it, but the change is very slow. Because we organize 50 events like this every year, next year some more. And of course, we're going to entertain more than 2,000 people this year. So you can see this group relative to the total is small, and if we make a change, we have to make the change for everybody. Now, as I say in Greek language, that we are not perfectionists, we are improvers. In Greece, we have 99% of the people, they are perfectionists. If they cannot construct a Parthenon, they don't construct it on their own house, because they want a Parthenon what they have. But no, we don't follow this line. We like every year to improve, and we add new things. And new things starting last year is the idea of a new journal. We have a journal that is relevant to this subject. We call it Athens Journal. Athens Journal itself, but not by itself. Not by itself. We have to improve it, and we call it Athens Journal of Arts and Humanities. So, especially for the senior guys, that they don't need the publications. If you have a good work, please send it to us, because we want to make it a good journal. And we have a lot of papers to choose from. Just think what is arts and humanities, and we have a conference for that. We have a conference for philosophy, we have a conference for history, we have a conference for art. So we have many, many papers to choose from. And of course, we have other publications that Professor Poulos will tell you in a more systematic way how we work. Now, I'm going to repeat what I said again and again. Those people that they like us, we do need your help as a reviewer as well. Our publication department has a difficult time to find reviewers. So if you want really to help us, because the publication doesn't really, the presentation doesn't really count. Who remembers now and how many people are there here for 15 minutes what you said? But the publication remains for the eternity. So we want to make sure when we upload something, it meets standard academic criteria. Because a lot of people ask me, even though we have it on the site, what is a good paper? For me at least, and I have discussed it with thousands of academics from different disciplines, a good paper is if it has an introduction. It's a good paper, and in the introduction you say that that's the question, that's what I'm trying to answer. A good paper if it has a literature review, because if you say, and there are some people say, this is the first time that ever someone dealt with this question, it's right away you put the reviewer at a suspicion, not because it's not true, but because you submit it to us. You see, you have to submit somewhere else for a Nobel Prize. So this is another thing, the review of the literature, it has to be English. Third, you should have a methodology. Fourth, you should use this methodology to answer the question that you raised in the introduction, because as you write the paper, you forgot what was the question. And of course, you have some conclusions. Now, this is a good paper, if it is dealt appropriately, to upload for the paper series. I'm saying that because the publication department informed me, please say that again and again, because you complain that your paper is not uploaded right after the conference. We cannot do that. I don't want to have a Mickey Mouse Atiner paper series. And of course, for the journal, things become a little bit more difficult because we want to have some good papers there, and everything depends upon reviewing. Now, about the logistics, we have a Greek night tonight. I'm going to say bye-bye right after I finish my opening remarks, but I'll see you tonight if you're interested in general discussion about world affairs over wine. So I'll be there, and I'm more than willing to discuss how we can organize this conference better next year with your own contribution. Thank you very much, and I'll call Professor Poulos to say more about how we do things. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Professor Atiner. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from me, of the Athens Institute for Education and Research. Atiner for short. I'd like to welcome you also to Athens and to this 6th Annual International Conference on Visual and Performing Arts. I'm just going to first say a few words about the Institute. Atiner was established in 1995, and its mission is to act as a forum where academics and researchers from all over the world will come together to this historic cradle of democracy, Athens, in order to exchange ideas, on their research, to interact with each other, and to discuss future developments in their disciplines. Atiner is a world association of academics and researchers, and over 95% of our members are from institutions outside Greece, and our conferences are designed in such a way as to cater mainly for foreign academics. The basic activities of Atiner include the organizing and hosting of international conferences and symposiums such as this one, carrying out of research, and the production of various publications. And since 1995, Atiner has organized more than 300 international conferences and other events, and has published close to 200 books. Atiner has also organized numerous roundtable discussions and public speeches on topical issues. Now, the Institute is also currently involved in an ambitious project regarding the proposed establishment of an academic village. The aim is to establish a community of research scholars and academics such as you, and the proposed village will include conference center, living facilities, as well as facilities for research and recreation. And you'll find more information on this in your file. Right, turning to today's formal activities. You should each have a program by now. And you'll note that in some instances, parallel sessions have been arranged. You will, of course, choose which session to go to. Please also note, and this is important, that each presentation is limited to 15 minutes. The chairpersons will keep time and will use 3 and 1 minute reminder cards. I'd also like to ask the chairs to adhere strictly to the time constraints, and please allow for questions and discussion after all the papers have been presented and not after each paper. There will be enough time for discussion, not only in the sessions, but also outside, of course, during the coffee break. The chairpersons must also fill in the report forms that they'll be receiving. This is important because the final program will be based on the chairperson's reports. Should you need to make use of technical facilities in your presentation, please confirm that everything is in order before the session begins. There will always be someone from the admin staff, in this case Costa will be here to help you in this regard. And of course there will be a coffee break between sessions. You should also consult the social program in your file. The Greek night tonight is to be recommended. Apart from Greek cuisine, there'll be lots of Greek music and dancing, and you can of course join in if you'd like. And then there's also the urban walk tomorrow. Then follows the cruise to selected islands and a visit to the ancient site of Delphi. Right, let's turn to publications. The Institute is involved with various publications. Firstly, there are the abstracts which are published. We are aware of the fact that certain institutions regard abstracts as formal publications. They have their own ISBN number and can of course be cited. In this way, the paper contents can be disseminated as quickly as possible and can allow for feedback from researchers in the area of study. Secondly, the papers that are presented are placed on the web as part of an online paper series. Once the editing of the papers has been attended to, they will have their own ISSN number and can of course be cited. The purpose of this publication series is first to disseminate the information in your paper as quickly as possible, and secondly to allow for feedback in case you wish to make amendments before you submit your paper for publication in a book. Should you not want your paper to be put on the paper series publication list, then you can inform us as well and we'll hold back on that. With regard to book publications, you'll receive an email soon after the conference asking you for a final draft for publication consideration and any other information that may be relevant. All papers that are submitted will go through a referee process before they are considered for publication in a book. And then finally, as Dr. Nikos has already said, Atiner has its own journal series now. Papers submitted for the journal series go through a double-blind peer review process, which is monitored by the editorial board. On the issue of collaboration, we at Atiner would of course like to collaborate with other institutions, such as the ones that you come from, and academics, researchers, and institutes are invited to collaborate with us on research and education projects. If you're not yet a member of the Institute, we'd like you to join, and of course we'd also like you to help with the reviewing and editing of papers. You're also encouraged to collaborate as delegates at future conferences by submitting proposals for special panel discussions on a theme related to your research. Academics and researchers interested in your theme will then be invited to participate in a special panel discussion, and of course you will act as chairperson of that panel discussion. And then part of our vision is to organize visiting fellowships, and we hope to introduce this at some time in the near future. Right. Just a few final words. Colleagues, as clear from the program, we come from quite a number of different countries, and we at Athens sincerely hope that you enjoy being here, to make this opportunity to interact with each other, that you enjoy the conference, that you'll go back home with fond memories not only of the conference but also of Athens, and most of all that you'll want to come back to future conferences. It's nice to see some more faces here as well, people who have been here at previous conferences. That's all I have to say, but I'll hand over to Professor Stephen Marbury, who's head of the Visual and Performing Arts Research Unit here at Atiner. Say a few words as well. Welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, again, welcome. I'm Steve Marbury. It'll be nice to put some faces to all those abstracts I went through last month. Just to re-emphasize, there are two real strong benefits to this conference. As Gregory and George said, it's a small conference, which means rather than having 10, 12, 15 sessions occurring at the same time, there's only one or two, which means you will be able to, if if you want, attend the majority of the sessions and the papers, whereas in most conferences you only get to attend a fraction. The other advantage is, I think Atiner is kind of unique in that, is that all of the visual performing arts are represented in this conference. It's not just dance, or just theater, or just the visual arts or art history, which is usually the case in a conference in the States. So you'll be able to make some really interesting connections that you maybe never even thought of as you attend these sessions and papers. And I encourage you to talk to people in the coffee sessions, between sessions and coffee breaks, and also at the dinner tonight and elsewhere. And last thing I would say is, if you haven't noticed, the bathrooms are to the left of the elevators, or if you're going out this way, back to the right in the corner. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask one of us, or if you're staying a few days extra and want some tips on what museums to see, feel free to ask me. I've been here many times and know most of the good museums. So again, welcome, and I'm glad to see you all.